All the players are walking out here. England is 66 for 2. Having been put into bat. They lost Sibley for 0. And then Root was run out. Was he a bit slow setting off? Was he a bit unlucky that the throw just trimmed the bail as he was coming in? If it had just been a normal wicket-keeper's take, which it looked at the time, then he'd have been comfortably home. But he was run out by about a foot because of that, just that little flick of the bail. But that's all it takes. That was enough. And he wasn't best pleased to be run out for a second time in consecutive test matches. All you have to say, the first time the other day was obviously in a cause in which he was trying to push on the scoring rate and so on, so it was a bit of a different situation. But anyway, run out he was on both occasions. Jason Holder has bowled 7 overs for 7, and he's going to bowl from the Anderson end, which is the deserted pavilion end. But like Kevin, we've got blue sky, the sun is shining, and what more could you ask for, at least on the deciding test match? And the forecasts, they don't look quite as bad as they did yesterday, Tuffers. They're just
changeable.
Well, they don't look quite as... I mean, tomorrow looked awful for a while, but it's just looking... It might be improving a bit. Holder's on his way. He's bowling to the left-handed Burns, who feels for the first ball and guides it away past backward point, out to that deep backward point boundary for 4 runs. Not quite the start, maybe, that West Indies will have wanted, but nicely put away by Burns, who goes to 37. And England to 70 for 2. And when they were put in, and it was very cloudy, the floodlights were on. It was humid as well, actually. But it now feels like a nice batting afternoon. Ball has slowly returned to Holder. Where's Gabriel? We seem to have a constant Gabriel watch up here. I'm not sure he's on the field.
I saw him loosening up. No, I don't think he is.
I can't see him. Here's Holder, bowling to Burns, pushing up to mid-off. And there's no run.
Well, he did well to even come back on.
Well, he came
Once
back.
He grabbed for the old hammy.
Yeah, he seemed to do a hamstring mid-over, went off. But then he did come back, and he bowled, another 3 overs, Andy?
Bowled pretty well, yeah.
3.4 overs.
Yeah. But I don't see him out there.
No. What used to hurt when the old Fizz used to get the thumbs into a hammy, didn't it? Used to go in deep, didn't it? Oof.
Well, it's a horrible injury.
Yeah, it is.
Holder runs up, bowls, and that's found an edge. It didn't quite carry to gully. Heard a cry of catch it, and almost gave a catch there to Hope. He gets up, he slaps his thigh there with his right hand, which has got a lot of bandaging on it.
There's been a couple that haven't carried.
Yeah. And you feel that one probably should have done, because he went at it.
Yeah, he did.
He drove at it, and it just bounced about a foot in front.
Yeah. England don't want to lose too quickly here after lunch. You just look at that, Pope, Butler, lack of runs, lack of form.
Yeah.
Coming in next.
70 for 2. And Holder on his way, moves in, bowls. Burns defends that and plays back up the pitch again. 3 slips. The area largely dominated by Cornwall, who's at first. It's a bit like Giant Haystacks. I mean, he's got more clothes on than Giant Haystacks used to have when he entered the ring, but he's an enormous man. Well, Mick was small.
Well, yes.
Mick was a little fella.
Yes, that's right. Solid.
What size was Giant Haystacks, Andy? I mean,
Giant.
I don't do wrestling stats.
Well, you can look.
Big Daddy. Big Daddy was there as well, wasn't he?
But I think Haystacks is bigger than Big Daddy. There's Holder. Bowls, and it's pushed away off the front foot nicely.
What was his name? Big Daddy, wasn't it?
He had an unusual...
Florence or something.
Shirley Crabtree.
Shirley Crabtree, that was it.
His son was a professional rugby league player, or what was a professional rugby league player.
Was he? Yes.
It's an unusual men's
Saturday
name, Shirley.
afternoon.
I don't know many male Shirleys.
Well, no, I don't. No, Shirley. Know a few Leslies.
Yes.
Yes. Was Les Taylor a Leslie or just a Les?
Leslie was a Leslie with I-E, I think, but it's mainly Les.
Yeah.
Here's Holder bowling, and that's pushed away nicely by Burns. He's found the gap there out to deep cover.
Don't call me Shirley. What was that? Airplane.
I don't think I remember that.
No, when they were taking off with the aeroplane. Doesn't matter.
Was there a Shirley involved in that?
Don't call me Shirley.
Oh,
what was it? Shirley? Don't call me Shirley. What was it? Check the Victor's Vector. Oh, dear. That was Check the Victor's Neck. Oh, I can't remember. Very funny though.
According to the internet, source
Yes.
of all truth, Giant Haystacks fluctuated between 31 and 48 stone.
Oh, wow.
Really? So he really was, yes.
Yeah, a whopper.
So he was almost twice the size of Cornwall at times.
Crikey.
We want to face that in the ring, would he?
Wow, no, he would have to catch you.
He would have to catch you.
Once he's caught you, in a bit of trouble.
Twice the size.
Wow. Well, those WWF fellas are huge.
Yeah.
It's on Joe Root's run out. And
really?
make it the second earliest in a test match that an England captain has been run out.
Oh.
After Archie McLaren run out for 9 at Edgbaston in 1902.
Wow.
Against Australia. So it's only the 9th time, first innings batting first, that England's skipper has been run out. And second earliest.
I rather like your wrestling stats, if I'm honest with you, Andy.
All right, I'll move on to them.
Here's Roach, bowls round the wicket. Oh, gets a thick inside edge. Runs down to fine leg. 1 run, 72 for 273, in fact, for 2. Burns goes to 39. I think Giant Haystacks' favoured move was the splash, wasn't it?
Yes. Or
He
the
used to literally,
sleeper.
he used to get somebody lying there and just literally go and lie on them, and that was it.
That was Big Daddy. That was the Daddy
that
splash.
was the Daddy
one.
splash.
Yeah, not
That's
the
right.
Haystack splash.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I think Giant Haystacks was the sleeper. Used to put the sleeper on them. Yeah, used to sort of get them in a full Nelson or something, and then like bear hug them, and they used to go to sleep.
Rawls used to watch it, though.
Yeah. My
Saturday
aunt,
afternoons.
my auntie loved it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Swinging a handbag around.
Absolutely. Roach bowls, and that's driven down to mid-on. And there's no run. Well, I'm sure I mentioned it before, but Mick McManus was a member of MCC.
Was he really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
He used to. He used to be a terrible cheat, didn't he? He was the baddie.
Yes. Ooh.
Yes. And he would always cheat and sort of gouge people's eyes and things when the umpire wasn't watching.
Yeah.
The referee
And all the
was.
ladies used to take their shoes
Yes.
off and sort of
Yeah. They would handbag him. But no, he's an MCC member. He used to sit at the top of the pavilion by our commentary box.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Funny.
Yeah, lovely chap.
Yeah.
We never had him on view from the boundary.
Oh,
It was a shame.
should have done, yeah.
Absolutely. Roach bowls. Oh, dear, that drive again from Burns. It's played it a few times in this innings.
Yeah. He does go after him. When he
does.
fancies a drive, he does go after him.
Yeah. It's that lovely length that Roach bowls. It's inviting. It's that carrot, again, outside the off stump. But, you've got to get in a better position than that.
Yeah. Yeah. The lure ball, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Have a little drive at that with a bit of movement.
73 for 2. England put in. Burns is on 39. Stokes on 8. As Roach bowls, Port swings away. It definitely swung away. But Burns this time saw it going quite early. Allowed that to go through to the wicketkeeper. 73 for 2. Lovely Friday afternoon. Very peaceful and quiet here. The sun's shining.
It's Friday, yeah, Friday.
Sad that it's deserted, of course.
Yeah.
Matthew Butler. See, I knew people would be interested in this. Lots of people used to watch the wrestling. Roach on his way, bowls. Oh, Burns pushes again at a ball that was swinging away from him. Thick inside edge. Fielded at mid-on. So Matthew says, my father was manager of a building society in Halifax in the 1970s. One day, a slightly nervous counter-clerk put her head around the door. She said, there's a man outside who wants a mortgage, she said. It was Shirley Crabtree, Big Daddy, propping up the counter. I think he got his mortgage. I bet he did. Roach round the wicket. Bowls very full, played by Burns. Down towards mid-on, is clearing that right foot away. 73 for 2. 29 overs gone. Burns 39. Stokes has 8. No, Mick McManus used to sort of pretend to be screaming and shouting, having tantrums, didn't he? Because he felt the world was against him. And then when the umpire looked round to say something, he would get a quick jab in the solar plexus or something. Classic stuff. Sort of comedy stuff. And I think Gabriel's coming back on. I can see a big fella wandering on.
Saturday afternoon, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
ITV.
Grandstand or something, wasn't
No,
it?
it was ITV.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Dickie Davis.
Yes.
Who used to commentate on the wrestling?
Oh, I don't know.
Don't look like that, Andy. You've got the world at your fingers. Who were the wrestling commentators?
Little bit before my time.
No,
I
it wasn't.
I remember it as a boy watching it.
Harry Carpenter.
Oh, it might have been Harry. No?
Don Mosey.
I don't
Sid
think.
Waddell.
I don't think Don Mosey commentated on the wrestling. 73 for 2. Stokes is on strike. He's facing Holder, who comes up and bowls to him outside the off stump. And Stokes, the man of the match of the last test, allows that to go through.
The Simon man said that he commentated on the wrestling at Sydney Olympics this morning. Yes.
Was that normal wrestling, or was it the sort of
No,
Greco?
this was Greco, yes.
Greco,
yeah, all sort of like oiled up and everything. And
Yeah.
he said he saw this fantastic bout between this great big fella and this little skinny fella. And guess who won?
The little one, probably, did he?
No, the big fella.
I fell for that.
He did.
Oh, Adrian, you're so right. In comes Holder, bowls, and back goes Stokes. Does anyone remember that Mick McManus's big weakness was that he hated having his ears pulled? That's when he used to go mad, because the opposition would come in and pull his ears, and Mick would hate it and have a tantrum, then do something nasty, and then all the handbags would come on.
I've got another one for you that's just spring to mind. Kendo Nagasaki.
Oh, yes.
Oh, the fella with the mask on, and
Yeah.
everyone wanted to try and get his mask off, and no one ever got his mask off, I don't think.
Didn't do a bit of the old
Yes,
kung fu
that's
as well.
right,
I think he did. Simon Mann's copying him. His karate lessons.
Yeah.
In comes Holder, bowls outside the off stump. No stroke from Stokes. It keeps a bit low. That. Oh, of course it was the ears. Ken Walton was ITV commentator. Thank you, Jackie.
Well done.
What if Jackie was a fan? He might have been by the sound of it. They did at the front row. It was a lot of women on the front row.
Yeah. Yeah, they
And
loved
bags,
it.
yeah,
Don't you have a go, my boy?
great theatre, wasn't it?
Stop pulling his ears.
Great theatre. No, because everyone wanted him to pull his ears. A great cheer went up. If someone got his ears, getting a good pulling, then the place would erupt.
I remember Michael Vaughan pulling Freddie Flintoff's ears at Edgbaston when he got a wicket. Yeah, at the end of play.
Let's hold that. Bowls, that's a flick past square leg. Nice stroke from Stokes, who's being a bit careful with his running, if we're honest. He's not absolutely going flat out. He settled for 2 there from the start.
What's his problem?
It is quad,
Right.
thigh,
Yeah.
in old language,
Yeah.
which he just tweaked. I don't think he actually properly pulled it, but
Well, I don't like it when someone flicks my ear. Do you know, remember at school you used to have
yeah.
someone flick the back of your ear? It used to annoy me.
it's a little paddy like McManus.
Well, a little bit.
So you get more of it then, don't you?
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
75 for 2. Happy memories, aren't they? On a Friday afternoon.
I've got a big smile on it.
Hold around the wicket, bowls as Stokes lets that go through to the keeper.
Well, Kevin sounded absolutely joyous down at Headingley, didn't he?
What if he still is?
No. But he was enjoying it.
You can listen to Kevin.
Is that the first day back, is it, for the boys?
Yeah.
Yeah. Been a long wait.
Well, it has, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's good to hear that they're getting some crowds in. Or going to trial it.
Yes, trialling the crowds, 1,000 a time.
Yeah.
But things like getting in, I suppose, and spacing out,
Yeah.
distancing. Holder, bowls, and that's pushed away out to mid-wicket by Stokes.
Bit of
And
cock.
masks, presumably. Got to wear masks, I
Well,
guess.
yeah. Well, yes, I mean, obviously, a little bit of packed lunch might be able to squeak under it.
Oh, you can do that, yeah. But I think probably, if you're sitting watching the game, you'll probably have to wear a mask.
Yeah.
75 for 2. 30 overs have been bowled on this first day of the deciding test between these two. John Sims, Martin Ruan. Is that Giant Haystack's proper name? Martin Ruan. Had his weight quoted as about 40 stone.
Wow.
His finishing move was to smash a forearm down on the opponent's head.
Yeah.
He later wrestled in the USA's Loch Ness.
The monster.
Well, perhaps that was it.
Well, yes. He's not going to be named after a fjord, is he?
No. Martin Ruan.
Even though it's very deep, Loch Ness, isn't it? It might be because he's so very deep.
Yes, the monster.
Yeah.
You're right, though.
Must be the monster.
Roach round the wicket, bowls the ball, swings away from the left-handed Burns, and he lets it go by. 75 for 2.
What would your wrestling nickname be, John?
Oh, the coward or something, I think. I'll tell you what, there's absolutely no way Giant Haystacks will catch me. He would be running and running and running in circles around that ring.
You reckon?
Yeah. And that Undertaker, he was a bad one too. He was WWF, wasn't he?
Yes, don't mess about
A bit sinister he was.
Oh, yes.
Bowles. Neatly played down to mid-on. There's Gabriel back on the field, moving to his right to pick that up. Well, Gary Barnes says that Tufnell has a remarkable resemblance to the wrestler Catweasel. And aptly named too. I remember Catweasel.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Used to live in a water sort of pylon, didn't he, up there?
Did he?
Yeah, Catweasel. Didn't he used to check? Oh, no, I'm thinking of... Oh, I don't know. Yeah, Catweasel. I remember Catweasel.
There were definite goodies and baddies, weren't there?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
That's a very low-flying something.
Yeah, oh, I haven't known an aeroplane for a while.
No. Roach bowls and Burns drives. He's got it away this time. Hasn't absolutely timed it. And it's an area that he's been playing and missing a few times. But, a couple more. 77 for 2.
He's just coming... Tufnell. Just reminds me, Mr. Tufnell, Philip.
I thought you might have spelt your name wrong as well, but there you go.
2 F's, one L. A lot of people do. Tufnell.
Yeah. So Gabriel's back on and he's there mid-on.
What was the fellow who used to change his heads? That wasn't Catweasel, that was...
Gummidge.
Wurzel. That's it, yeah, change your head.
Roach bowls. So Burns walks forward playing at this. The most secure defensive shot I've seen played today. Fielded at mid-off. And West Indians, you can hear them urging each other on. Come on, let's get a wicket.
Yeah.
They're in control of the scoring rate. It's only about 2.5 and over.
Yeah. Yep, you don't want to let... They haven't let England get away.
No.
And I think England have played like they're sort of a batsman light as well, haven't they? They've been quite cautious.
Yeah, they have. Although, as we said, Crawley in the last match got first baller. Yeah. So it's kind of irrelevant, isn't it? But there's Roach. Bowls a bouncer. Don't see many of those. And Darragh doesn't collect that cleanly. Actually, he's dropped that. Not entirely sure why. Burns quite happily allowed that to go down the leg side. 77 for 2. Sibley and Root both dismissed. Sun shining at Old Trafford.
Makes the same.
Virtually no breeze. Flags are dangling by their poles. And I read you up my menu for tomorrow night, Tuffers.
Sounds beautiful.
I've got a little bit of work to do.
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to that job.
Big night tomorrow night in the bubble. And goes Roach. Bowls full and swinging away. And Burns ignores it. So at the end of the over, 77 for 2, 31 overs gone. Burns has 41, Stokes has 10. More from Tuffers about goodness knows what, frankly. And then Isha's coming in here.
I remember Wurzel Gummidge because he used to change his head. That would be handy if you were a cricketer, because if you needed a fast bowler, you could put your fast bowler's head on. And then a little bit of spin later on in the game, you could put your spin bowler's head on. So that would be handy. But
some of your coaches try to do that to you, Tuffy.
Yes, they did. But, yeah, England, slow going for England, but I don't think they'll mind it. They really are desperate to get a little foothold in this game after being asked to bat first. Isha.
The sun's come out. Tuffers.
Correct.
Bright sunshine here. A few wispy white clouds in the distance over behind the pavilion. The red pavilion is... In comes Holder, bowling from the James Anderson end around the wicket to Stokes, who comes forwards and leaves outside the off stump. He's got 3 slips in play, a gully point, a man at extra cover, no mid-off. There's a mid-on, mid-wicket, and a man down at long leg as well. A couple of people positioned in the building over to our right, the old pavilion. And it's got a nice feel to it at the moment, this afternoon. As Holder is at the top of his mark and will continue. He's gone for 15 into his 10th over as he comes in now past the umpire. Stokes punches past point out to the deep cover boundary. He doesn't go fully through with his shot as he pushes back for 2. The throw is sent in. And we'll go to 12, 79 for 2. Wrestlers.
Yes.
I mean, I watched a bit of WWF when I was younger. Hulk Hogan.
Yes.
The Rock.
Yes. All of those.
That's about it.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what I remember.
Yeah.
They were the main ones.
They were. Yes, they were. You say it's got a nice feel about it. In what way? Sorry.
Just a
bit of sunshine.
Bit of sunshine.
Yes.
Bit of sunshine.
Lovely.
Just you can see a couple of camera guys over to our right that are just sat watching the cricket as Holder bowls short to Stokes, who swivel pulls out to deep backward square, comes through for a single.
Oh, I've got the wrong earphones on.
You're joking. How have you just realised this? The Stokes goes to 13.80 for 2.
Oh, no, I haven't. No, I haven't. No, I haven't. No, I haven't, sorry.
You don't want to be divulging that on air, Tuffers. We've got strict protocols here.
No, I'm fine. No, I've got the right ones on. Sorry, I thought I had the wrong ones on there for a minute.
We don't have Tuffers Muffers anymore, do we?
Yes. Yes, we do.
As Holder is through his action. Short to Burns, pulls out to the deep square boundary. Past a man at square leg who's chasing after it now. Will come back for 2. And will steal the third as well. As the throw comes in now from Shamar Brooks. So, Burns to 44. 83 for 2. Top score of 42 so far in the series for Burns. Coming back into this side after the injury that he picked up in South Africa. And looking to put a big score on the board. Stokes on strike now, open stance, taps the bat down as he looks down the track. Here comes Holder again, running towards us. Stokes drives, it's a diving stop from Chase, but he parries it and allows Stokes to scamper through for 1. Goes to 14, 84 for 2.
Gone up to number 3 in the world, hasn't he? Ben Stokes.
Yep. And number 1 all-rounder in the world, leapfrogging the man that's walking very slowly back to the top of his mark, Jason Holder.
But number 3 batsman in the world.
But just a year ago, he was ranked 31st.
There you go.
And that had gone up to 10th 6 months ago, and now 3rd. So a rapid improvement. He generally hovered around the sort of low 20s, early 30s for most of his Test career as a batting ranking. So it's a real step forward for Stokes in the last year or so.
On the move.
Holder coming over the wicket to Burns, who defends. At the end of the over, it's 84 for 2. 32 overs have been bowled in this innings. Burns on 44, Stokes on 14. So where can he go, Tuffers?
Well, the only way is up, for me.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He's just seems to be getting better and better with every knock, doesn't he? I think he's got every opportunity, even though we were discussing this on Tufnell and Vaughan, actually. And Michael said, can a number 5 be classed as being the best batsman in the world? I think they can. But we shall see. He's got a few to leapfrog, hasn't he?
What about number 4?
Well, yeah, you kind of think your top 4. You kind of think your top 4 as your batters, don't you? And then 5.
Can he sustain this though?
What great 5s have there been?
Martin,
Chanderpaul,
Chris Martin or Damien Martin?
Damien Martin, Jack Callis was 5.
3, 4.
Roach continues from the Brian Statham end. Stokes pushes it to the leg side.
Oh, he's not 5 today. He's not 5 today, is he?
No.
This week's Tuffers and
That's what I mean.
This week's Tuffers and Vaughan show is still available as podcast via the BBC Sounds. Just thought I'd get that in.
It was very good, I have to say. I listened in while I was doing a little jog around the ground the other day.
Were you jogging around the ground?
Yeah.
Did you have us in your ears then?
Yeah,
did you?
I did.
You were going for a jog?
You were keeping me company as Stokes solidly defends to the offside. Yeah, it was lovely, actually.
Nice.
Yeah. It was a good one from you both. And Ellie Oldroyd, of course.
Good one. They're all good, Isha. Wow. You give with one hand and just take it away with the other.
Got to keep you on your toes, Tuffers, Andy.
I've got a list of number 5s in Test cricket.
Roach bowls to Stokes, batting at number 4 in this Test match. Guys that pass mid-wicket. out to the deep mid-wicket boundary and will come through for 1. Goes to 15, 85 for 2.
And as I mentioned this morning, in the 2010s, number 5 was the highest averaging position in the Test match batting order for the first time in a decade. Looking at batsmen who batted at least 20 times at number 5 in Test cricket, of which there are 109, the highest average, Joe Root, averages 69 in 30 innings at 5, followed by A.B. de Villiers, averages 62 at 5, 74 innings. Steve Smith, Michael Clarke batted over 100 innings at 5 and averaged 60. Then you've got...
I've got one for you.
Yes?
Steve Waugh.
Steve Waugh, 142 innings, averaged 56 at 5. Chanda Paul also averaged 56 at 5.
So there's a few decent ones at
Burns
5.
across the stumps, pats that back to Kemar Roach. Good length delivery on the off stump.
And Stokes is averaging 49 from 27 innings at 5, so building up a decent record.
Yeah.
Decent record there.
The only way he's up, I reckon. Been so impressive.
Ian Botham had a much better record at 5 and 7 than he did at 6, oddly.
And his number's 55, of course, Ben Stokes, as he's out there. All the 5s.
Burns on strike now, clips that to mid-wicket. It was a lovely stroke, but straight to Roston Chase.
Don't miss that, though, Isha.
Yeah.
That was absolutely middle stump, that was. Just swinging away, wasn't it? Got a good bit of it. Bit risky.
So, yeah, I guess the question is, could he sustain a number 4 spot, given everything he has to do in a game as an all-rounder?
Yeah, I think everyone just feels a little one too high, don't they, really? I don't know, really.
Roach again around the wicket, this time clipped at
Clippage.
to fine leg. Slightly more leg side in terms of line from Roach. At the end of the over then, Burns to 45, England 86 for 2. As the batters will come together in the middle now. Not really a breeze here at Old Trafford. Flags hanging limp above the pavilion as Michael Vaughan will come in. And we're going to have a change of bowling. Big Rakim is going to come back into the attack. Bowled a few overs before lunch. 24 off 7. England looked to play with intent against him, but he was getting some turn. And got Michael Vaughan to tell me what he thought of that spell.
Yeah, it was a nice afternoon, everyone. I'm just staggered that Roston Chase is not bowled yet. He got 5 wickets just a few days ago on this venue. He got Rory Burns out.
As Cornwall bowls to Burns on the back foot, punching to the offside.
In that first innings with one that skidded on, crashed into his pads, and we're yet to see him. Rakeem Cornwall's the number 1 off spinner, but I am surprised that Roston Chase had not had a bowl on the venue that he picked up just a few days ago.
Burns crouches, is advancing, drives to wideish mid-on, comes down a couple of paces, but is sent back by Stokes. Throw comes in from Kemar Roach, moving to his right. As Cornwall sets up once more. It's fairly efficient action, isn't it? A couple of steps. And he's through as Burns is back in his crease, playing that to mid-wicket. Now he comes through for a 1. Goes to 46, 87 for 2.
Yeah, there's not a great deal there for the off-spinner. I've seen the odd 1 turn, but it's slow turn. It's nothing that... It's not spitting, it's not bouncing a huge amount. These two look nicely set.
Ben Stokes back and across into his crease and punching to Kemar Roach, who casually runs towards the ball. Stokes comes very quickly for that single, goes to 16, 88 for 2.
So that was the old-fashioned arm ball, Ish. The old-fashioned kind of next finger behind the seam and just releasing it with a bit of swing back into Ben Stokes.
Comes from a great height, does Rakeem Cornwall. 6'6" as he's past the stumps now to Burns. Pushing that to Kemar Roach this time. No run.
Glorious afternoon, isn't it?
Yeah.
Blue sky.
I was just saying it has a nice feel to it. Just like a lovely day at the cricket as Cornwall bowls, Burns on the back foot. and pats that 2 extra cover at the end of the over, 88 for 2. But it's one of those days you turn up with a picnic, you've got all sorts in your basket.
Yeah, a bit of rosé.
A little rosé. Is that your drink of tipple of choice?
Well, I would say one of, yes. Yeah. Shannon Gabriel, he's just had a sprint from mid-off to mid-on just to test out that leg. Ball quickly before lunch. West Indies now are in desperate need of a quick breakthrough, a quick bang-bang, I reckon. Jason Holder will be looking at the skies. He'll be seeing the way that the pitch is playing. He mentioned moisture when he decided to have a bowl. And I think he would have expected the pitch to do more than it has done. It's played fine. It's played like a normal Old Trafford wicket. Good bounce. Just a hint of spin, but not a massive amount. Just nice for batting.
Roach hustles in, bowls to Stokes on the back foot. Back of a length delivery. He gets on top of it and plays it to mid-wicket. Austin Chase picks up the ball there, wearing his brimmed white hat. So we'll now toss it to Shannon Gabriel. But it was a tricky sort of hour and a half in the morning, wasn't it? Overcast conditions. The ball was doing a bit off the seam in the air, and they managed to get through that relatively unscathed. And then that's when Joe Root was run out as Roach turns at the top of his mark. Here he is, bowling to Stokes, who pulls it. Does he get something on it? It's taken by Dowrich. They go up for the appeal. It's a miscue, but Stokes is unmoved. It's given not out.
I think it's off the helmet. Just having a look at the replay. It's not reviewing it, so they don't think there's a... Yeah, he's painting him on the helmet, so Richie Kelber, the umpire, Michael Goff, then have to now call for the physio to come and... yeah, it's come straight off the top of the helmet. The physio has to come and give Ben a quick concussion test, just to make sure he's okay. He strolled past the umpires and he's going to... Looks like he's going to meet the physio halfway. Nah, he's making him come. He's stopped now. He said, "You can come to me."
That's how it should be. Stokes on 16 then. He was almost through his shot, wasn't he, as he looked to play that short ball from Roach.
Well, they bowled the short ball a lot more so far in this innings than they did for the whole of the last Test match. So clearly they've had a discussion about making sure that they use the short ball wisely. Got a square leg on the boundary, fine leg, so it's a good option for Ben Stokes. He generally does like to take it on. So he'll be getting asked a few questions now. What's your name? Where do you live? How old are you? What bat do you use? And if he gets any of those wrong, he's off. I think that's how it works, Ish.
Yeah. There have been plenty of jokes in the past for fast bowlers being asked those questions.
Yeah. That's enough to be president of America these days.
I think Ben Stokes could do a good job, don't you?
Well, all things being relative at the moment.
Nice White House.
I'd rather Prime Minister.
Well, he's passed his test, whatever the questions were. He's got them right and he's able to carry on.
Don't make them too tricky.
No. What happens if you just get them wrong? And you know, you just don't... Nothing to do with concussion, you just don't know.
You don't fancy being out there in the middle. No. It's too tricky.
Well, it's quite tough, this. I'll wait till it's does a bit less.
Well, he's ready again. Ben Stokes standing at the James Anderson end. Here comes Roach, pushes away, following around the wicket to the left-hander. Pulls this one, connects with it. It's gone out to the boundary, and it will go safely into the boundary, having bisected the two fielders out there. Man at deep backward square and fine leg. That is well played by Stokes as the score moves to 92 for 2.
Yeah, I think it was in the air just for a short while. That's why you heard a few excitable shouts from the slip cordon. It went in between backward square and fine leg. Yeah, it was just off the top edge of the big bat that he has. I think he'll get another one here.
Roach bowls a bit fuller. His forward in defence is Stokes. Stops it with his bat as it rolls back.
That's a sign of a good player. And you get two bounces in there.
So what are your thoughts, actually? I'd like to know from you whether you think he can continue to bat at 4 if he's bowling.
Well, I don't think he will, because whichever it will go to 4. So I think he'll always be around 5. You know, if he's obviously bowling, that if he's not, they'll have to go with this system. But if he's able to bowl, yeah, I think he'll always bat number 5.
Yeah. Back and across is Stokes, leaving outside the off stump as it goes through to Darrich.
Well, the talk of him being the number 1 player in the world, of course he could get there. But could he stay there for a long period of time? Not so sure. Not so sure. Not with a lot, you know, Virat Kohli's around, Kane Williamson,
Steve Smith.
I'm not too sure whether, because he bowls and he's so active, it's...
Yeah. He crouches down now. Bowled! Kemar Roach has got through Ben Stokes' defences. And Stokes looks down the pitch. And he's not entirely sure how that has got through. But he will have to walk back. He's been dismissed for 20. England 92 for 3. And Kemar Roach, he's provided the breakthrough after lunch. Bit of wobble. It zips back in. And it's bowled Ben Stokes. Hits middle stump.
Well, it's a good delivery. But if you just watch Ben Stokes play this delivery, there's a big gap between bat and pad, and he kind of comes across the ball rather than bringing the full face towards the ball. It kind of comes across to mid-on, and by doing so the bat comes from a kind of a gully region through to mid-on, and that creates this big gap between bat and pad, so the ball just nips back, and it's a good delivery. It's certainly, it seamed off the surface, but you know, you also go back a few balls ago, the bouncers, you know, 2 bouncers, he gets hit on the head, then he top edges a pull shot, and then maybe, just maybe in his mind, he's thinking the other bouncer's coming. Maybe just thinks, wait a minute, the bouncer's coming, and that ball's then full of length, and he's just a little bit late, and it plays across the ball just slightly, and then he's castled. I just wonder whether he was thinking the bouncer was coming.
Very good bowling from Kemar Roach. And a significant wicket given how well Ben Stokes has been playing in this series. Ollie Pope now comes out to meet Rory Burns in the middle. They punch gloves. A few more words from you, Michael, and then in will come Dan Norcross.
Well, we got Surrey in the middle, and it's going to be Surrey coming on the air, the Brown Hatters. Well, this is a great chance for Ollie Pope. He's not got a huge amount of runs in the series. He looked really good in Southampton without getting any kind of big scoring, average of just over 39 in Test cricket. That's 135 not out against South Africa in Port Elizabeth being his highest score, but this is a real good chance. The pitch is playing well. There's the odd bit of movement. Yeah, that Ben Stokes one there, it's just been shown on the screen. Sharp seam movement right between bat and pad. Afternoon, Dan. Looking
good afternoon.
Rather bright and shiny, I would say.
I'm a shiny, happy person.
Where's that
today.
bow tie? Oh, is it? Where's that?
Well, it's got a bit warm. So I thought, and also given that the shirt, as I mentioned earlier, was probably designed for somebody
like
of a slightly slimmer.
It's like a Strictly shirt, should I say? Something like
a bit, isn't it?
The Argentinian tango or Paso Doble, yes.
I think it's a kind of a tribute to Doug Mountjoy, the great Welsh snooker player. Do you remember they used to wear those sort of ruffly shirts, red ones, especially the Welsh players back in the 70s? Rakeem Cornwall is in the attack from the James Anderson end, and England have just lost a wicket. In he comes off 3 or 4 paces to Burns, who props forward in defence and works it to short leg, where Shamar Brooks does the fielding. Yeah, we've just seen the replay again of that delivery from Roach to get rid of Stokes, and whilst there was a gap between bat and post, what was that? I mean, Stokes was sort of playing the line of the ball, and then it did jag back as Cornwall's in. It's fast arm, and it's clipped away to square leg. Campbell does the fielding, and there's no run.
Just 2 away from Chris Wokes, the West Indies.
Yeah.
Wokes in at number 7. This was a great chance for them.
Well, this is the thing with England's selection changes today. Cornwall, flat ball, defended off the front foot, just propping half forward. Burns pushes into the offside. England will need to regroup here because, as Michael Vaughan says, next up is Buttler, who he's had a couple of decent knocks in this innings, but hasn't gone on in this series. Hasn't gone on. Clipped up to mid-on. On the walk this time, Burns advancing on Cornwall. Just pushes it gently up to mid-on.
The giddy round the bat, you can just you can hear them now. You just get a sense from the West Indies. They just know that this next half an hour of play is going to be so important for them.
Here is Cornwall. That's worked into the onside, but straight to fielder at square leg, Campbell.
I like this field as well because they're basically saying to Rory Burns that there's no singles available. You're going to have to make the play. It's either going to have to be a really bad ball or you're going to have to do something to hit it through that inner circle.
Yeah, he doesn't want a paddle sweep, does he, against the spin or anything like that, as he defends again. And it just flops down to the ground. Dowrich picks up a very rapidly bowled over again from Cornwall. He gets through them really quickly. And you can watch that wicket and all of today's other key action on the BBC Sport website and app. And, of course, today at the Test, our highlight show with Michael and Isha and many others is on BBC Two tonight at 7 o'clock and available to watch at your leisure on the iPlayer. And Simon Mann is on today.
Yes. I did his first stint with him. Very good.
How did he go? How would you?
Very professional.
Yes.
Very, very professional. He didn't quite get that in the highlight show. You don't have to commentate every ball,
right?
Particularly those really boring leaves to the keeper.
So did he sort of say, here comes Roach?
Yeah, I just let him go for a while. I'm not too sure that's going to make the comp.
Yes.
Just talking about Rakim Khan, I wonder if Kemar Roach is delighted how quickly the spinner bowled the over because he just not had any break.
Well, we timed him before lunch. It was 1 minute 50, wasn't it, in his last over before lunch. Roach in, starts a new over, worked away nicely by Pope out to deep square leg for a single. He's off the mark off his first ball. Pope has looked in really good touch in this series, but has not gone beyond 12. He got a really fluent 12 in the first innings at
he has 3 12s in the series.
But he has an average that's higher than his highest score. It's an average of 14, yes. Just got an unusual anomaly.
Exactly. Kemar Roach now on 199 Test wickets.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I mean, I think Pope's looked fluent, but one of the things I'd say about Pope is that he gets out in different ways. You know, when you think about James Vince gets out a lot in that way, caught at the second slip, as Roach round the wicket, the left-handed, Burns very wide of the off stump. Umpire tilts his head as if to say, nearly. But it was left alone by Burns, the keeper, no run. Whereas with Pope, I tend to think it's quite a good sign, isn't it? I mean, he's been out, unluckily caught down the leg side, he can be out driving, he can be out, caught in the ring,
well, I guess
out bowled.
If you've got one mode of dismissal, you've only got really one mode of kind of
play,
making sure that you don't do that mistake. He's a lovely player to watch.
Roach in and outside the off stump, left alone, a ball that just shaped away slightly, but it did die on the keeper Dowrich, who took it round by his feet, and there's no run. 93 for 3, England.
I mean, the more I watch him, even that little flick off the hip to get off the mark, he's so Ian Bell.
Yeah.
He just
the square drive as well,
Same movement, same kind of back lift. Same height. No, he's taller than Ian Bell. Sorry. I'm sure Bell is listening as well. I don't know if you saw on Twitter that Ian Bell had gone to see his little boy play for the first time.
I saw the shot through mid-on. Roach in, driven at, and straight to extra cover where Brooks does the fielding. It was a fluent shot, but he couldn't beat the fielder there, Burns.
And already at the age, I think he's an 8-year-old or 9-year-old. Already he's bigger than his dad.
Well, he timed it beautifully. I saw a bit of film on Twitter.
Lovely.
And he hit a beautiful on-drive, didn't he?
On-drive. Very nice.
How about the young Vaughan?
It's been frustrating.
I saw
played a bit this week. Played it against the over 40s on Tuesday night. That was interesting, watching a few over 40s trying to run around the field. Under 15s.
That seems like an unequal struggle.
Yeah, they lost the under 15s. The over 40s, the wile and guile and the experience.
Roach has got 2 slips and a gully, cover point extra, mid-off, mid-on, deep square leg and a long leg. Round the wicket to Burns, who lets this go by outside the off stump. Again, a bit of shape away. We've seen Roach take that ball away, take it away for the left-hander, and then the big one that came back in and bowled Stokes. We've been talking last night with Andy Zoltzman about the number of wickets we keep seeing to the ball coming back in. You spotted a groundsman asleep on a roller.
Tractor. He's got his socks on, he's got his feet up, he's got his glasses on, he's fast a kip.
Well, in fairness, as Roach is in, he's defended by Burns into the offside. There's no run. I think that might have been ball intended to bring back in, because we've seen Burns out already in this series when he was dragged further and further outside off stump, and then that one that fired in and caught him LBW. We haven't seen much in the way of slip catches. End of the 37th over, 93 for 3 England. Burns 46. Pope's just faced the one ball. We were hearing at lunch about the supposedly friendly Roses match taking place. Well, Yorkshire are not being very friendly to their Yorkshire chums. Yorkshire 161 without loss. Adam Lyth, formerly of England, 90 not out. Tom Kohler-Cadmore, 65 not out. There is commentary from Headingley on the BBC Sport website. And App.
Scoring at a good rate there, aren't they?
Not bad.
2 aggressors at the top of the order.
Good pitch at Headingley, though, isn't it? Cornwall starts a new over to the right-handed Pope, who defends solidly into the offside, and there's no run.
Again, it's a good field. They've got a leg slip, a short leg, an orthodox, and then 3 fielders either side on the one. So again, they're saying to Ollie Pope, you're going to have to hit it through us.
That's it, as Cornwall is in, and down the wicket comes Pope, using his feet, just works it to short mid-wicket. There's no run. I was watching the last game, and Sibley had got really becalmed against Chase and just couldn't beat the field, and kept on turning it to the onside and kept on finding the short mid-wicket. Pope came out, faced the second ball and just pushed it gently as you like to the left of extra cover for a couple of runs. Cornwall in, defended from the crease by Pope into the offside. Dowrich runs around to collect, and there's no run. Shea Hope in there at extra cover, backward point, mid on and mid off, a slightly deep, back a bit and a short mid-wicket. Played again from the crease by Pope, and that ball spun as it bounced off the ground.
Yeah, it did. Got some overspin on that one. It bounced quite sharply.
93 for 3, I beg your pardon, as Cornwall is in again. Pope again comes down the wicket, gets to the ball, pitch of the ball, and pushes it to short mid-wicket. There's no run. He really is getting through these overs, is Cornwall. If he bowls enough overs in the day, we might. They would say finish about 6 o'clock. I was going to say about your groundsman, I think he's probably getting his sleep in now, because the rest of the match he might be on and off quite a lot. Oh, a beautiful late cut from Pope. He just waited for that and dabbed that through third man and come back for a third. So the ball is chased down by Campbell. And Pope, I think that what that shows you at the end of the over, England 96 for 3, Pope has 4, Burns 46, is that Pope's going to try to find a method of scoring against Cornwall, isn't he? He's not going to get stuck.
No, he's busy. So you think the groundsman's just decided to just get a bit of kip on day one, knowing that there might be a few covers?
Well, I imagine about 3 o'clock in the morning, he's probably going to be out there nailing covers down as the thunderstorms come rolling in. So I don't begrudge him any time he gets to shut his eyes at the moment, because the forecast, it's not necessarily for a wipeout, but it could be, in many ways it's worse. If you have a wipeout as a groundsman, you just put the covers down and nature does what it does. But he could be on and off looking at the forecast as Roach starts a new over, hurtling in to Pope, who pulls at this with no timing, gets a bit of bat on it, and it goes out through a vacant backward square leg position. He didn't get a bit of bat on it, actually. He must have got a bit of arm or body, or he's looking at his helmet. Was it a bit of helmet? The visor of the helmet. So we'll get through for a leg by, but we're going to have a little break now while a new helmet is brought to Pope. It didn't hit him flush on it. I think it hit it. What do we call that? It's the visor, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just the beak.
The beak.
But he's going to have to go through the same protocol as Ben Stokes went through a couple of hours ago. He's going to have to answer a few questions. Got to get them right, Dan.
Oh, well, how does it go? Man, TV, camera, something I can't remember. I'm not sure I'd pass that test.
No, that's what I was saying to me. What happens if you just don't know the answer? It's not that you're concussed, you just don't know.
Yeah, Heraclitus, I don't know.
Can I find a friend?
So England 97 for 3 as we have this little break. Pope's going to be looked at. There's nothing wrong with him. He's smiling fine, but they have to go through the protocols as he... that ball was short and it banged into his beak. And with England 97 for 3 of 38.1 overs, it's been quite slow going. Burns 46, Pope 4. England have lost 1 wicket since a launch, and that is the wicket of Ben Stokes, who's had a terrific series, but on this occasion he was castled by a beauty from Roach. Now, Aggers was talking wrestling earlier. That's exactly the sort of thing I would imagine.
I could see him being a wrestler.
Aggers?
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah,
good grip.
Yeah.
on the text commentary on the BBC Sport website at the moment, Callum Matthews is looking for your cricketers as wrestlers, and Simon Rochwell has suggested the Bermudan Dwayne the Leverock Johnson.
Oh, he'd be a good wrestler, wouldn't he? Good luck taking him down.
Ken Higgs Nagasaki.
That's very good. Right, we're ready to recommence, and it won't be Pope on strike because they did get a leg by, and so it's Burns facing up to Roach round the wicket, a bouncer which he just ducks nimbly beneath.
So much better down there, the West Indies already. You go back to that Test match last week, and in the first, and just didn't bowl any bouncers. Dom Sibley got 100, faced over 300 balls. I don't remember him ducking once as an opening batsman against the West Indies. And already they've obviously had a chat, and they've come back today and just bowled so many more bouncers.
Why would that happen?
Don't know. I honestly don't know. I mean, it was doing a bit, but you still, even when it's doing it, you've got to just ask the question of the batsman.
Here is Roach, and Burns drives. Times it quite nicely, but hits it straight to mid-off. Campbell does the fielding again. Tuba grips on each arm. Sun is out. But Michael's absolutely right. There's been an intensity to the West Indies players. I saw Rory Dollard saying on Twitter that you could hear the West Indies players a lot more, that they were quite quiet or subdued perhaps in the last test, but here...
I think the tone was set by the opening burst as well. I thought they were good with the first initial overs. There was a dive at mid-wicket. Sibley would have got off the mark, and then he was kept down the strikers. Then he was out next ball LBW, so just the intensity's been raised.
Full from Roach, worked into the onside, crosses pad by Burns. He should get 2 for this. Fielder runs around from deep square leg to collect. He does. He moves to 48, getting closer and closer to that 50. He's on 44 to 46 for quite a while, wasn't he there? Andy, it feels like he was on the verge of his 50 sometime ago.
Yeah, he was on 44 off 95, so just 4 runs from the last 22 balls.
2 from the last 21.
That's a good spot to be a steward, isn't it? The link between the hotel and the old pavilion, just on that little tunnel.
Oh, yes. Roach in, wide of the off stump, through the keeper, no run. I tell you where I've really been eyeing up is over to our right. There's a little balcony of seats, which looks rather lovely to sit outside in.
That will be the oldest building at the ground. It's been there forever, hasn't it? I think it's the old press box. Is that right? Yeah.
Because of course the square was the other way round.
Yeah.
Of course here. Now the vastness of the boundaries. It does feel like quite a long way out to extra cover here for Burns at the moment as Roach is into him. Wide off stump. Thought about it. In the end, let it go by. It was very wide. He was tempted, but did not succumb. Through to the keeper, end of the over. 39 have gone. England 99 for 3. Burns 48 from 119 balls. Pope has 4. We've got another one here. We mentioned that the ITV wrestling commentator was it's Kent Walton. Many of you point out it was indeed Kent
Walton.
Walton. Yes, that used to be on. Do you remember? There used to be a bit of rugby league, and then there'd be wrestling from about 4-ish, wasn't there?
Big Daddy.
John Haystack.
Yeah, I used to like that.
My favourite was Alan Dennison. I liked him a lot.
Saints in Greavesy, wasn't that on that same channel? Yeah, Saints in Greavesy. I used to love that.
Yeah. Cornwall starts a new over. Comes over the wicket to Pope, who comes forward in watchful defence and just plays it gently towards mid-wicket. And there's no run. 99 for 3. England haven't been put into bat by the West Indies this morning in grey, overcast conditions. Down the wicket comes Pope and clips this nicely through, well, just in front of square. It's running away towards the boundary. It won't get there, I don't think. It has been pulled back in, but they are going to get back for 3. A good chase there by Roston Chase. And England's 100 comes up, 102 for 3. Pope again looking comfortable and fluent, but he hasn't gone on so far in this series. This is his opportunity. Coming out to bat with England needing to bat. Plenty of time yet. That said, this is exactly what we wanted, isn't it? Vic Marks, a game which could be challenged by the weather. Need the game to move on. Wickets have fallen, not in clusters, but there seems to be enough out there for the bowlers as Cornwall comes around the wicket. The left-handed Burns, he pushes to backward point. Their Chase, sun-hatted, does the fielding, and there is no run.
Hello, Daniel. Yeah, I agree. It's a good pitch. There's just enough happening to keep the bowlers interested.
Burns plays, he's back into his crease, going to go through for a single. Oh, and that ball is shot out of the footmarks on a pitch away to our left as Chase was running to the ball. He thought he was in with a chance of effecting his second run out of the day, and it just hurtled out of the crease mark and went up to his throat. Woof, nasty. So he couldn't field the ball cleanly. Burns picked up a single, moves to within one of his 50, and England 103 for 3 as Cornwall is into the right-handed Pope, who again defends on the front foot, plays it up to mid-wicket, and again there is no run.
Well, Chase has already done a lot of damage to England's cause with that run out. He didn't do anything wrong there. He got a freakish bounce.
There's nothing he could have done at all. Pope plays around his pad to a ball that scurries onto him and plops up into the onside. There is no run. End of the over. The 40th of England's innings. It's been gripping cricket, even if England are only going at just over 2.5 and over. 103 for 3. Burns 49. Pope has 7. Alan Crockford emails Vic Marks. Vic.
A fellow Exeter Grecian, he said. Well, I have watched the Grecians once or twice. Have you noticed that with Exeter-born Dom Bess and Rakeem Cornwall both playing, we're in for a Devon versus Cornwall spin battle? Or indeed, hang on, I can't do this, a spin battle, as we pronounce it in Exeter.
That sounded extremely authentic.
To you,
to me, yes. Shannon Gabriel.
Although I think he was born in Sidmouth, Dom Best, but without wanting to.
Of the beautiful ground.
Yes. Yeah.
It is lovely.
A lovely ground at Sidmouth, right on the coast, overlooking the beach.
Gabriel is back in the attack. Gabriel has had a few problems today. He's been off the field a couple of times, clutching the back of his leg. But he's out there now, and his captain desperately needs him because West Indies is in a decent position here. And if Gabriel can pick up 1 or 2, they'll be into the bowlers as England have slightly weakened their batting lineup today. 2 slips and a gully in as Gabriel bowls to Burns, who defends into the onside. There's no run. There's a ring field on the offside, but backward point, extra cover, wideish mid-off. A square leg, who's about 20 yards maybe in from that very, very long boundary out there. A long leg, and Roach at a sort of straight mid-wicket, wideish mid-on. So we can hear the West Indies players out, very animated out there, as well they might be. The series hinges on this third test, and they're not in a bad position here.
No, they've got England's 2 best players out.
They have. Gabriel in to the left-handed Burns, who defends into the offside. There's no run as Surrey looks to drag England out of this mess, Victor. I thought that would enervate you.
Well, they've just run out the captain.
I don't think it was Root's call then.
Well, it was one of those where I'm not. It's hard to apportion blame actually, and it was a brilliant piece of fielding. A direct hit was required, and Root was out by 2 inches. So Burns invited the run, hitting it just behind square on the offside, and Root accepted the invitation, but it wasn't a great invitation.
Campbell over the wicket. The left-handed Burns drives without timing up to that mid-wicket position, where Kemar Roach does the fielding. From England, the following players have left the biosecure environment at the Emirates Old Trafford.
With permission.
With permission. They are Joe Denley, Dan Lawrence, Craig Overton, Ollie Robinson and Ollie Stone, who I think is playing, isn't he, today? I think Warwickshire have got a match on. A friendly, I think I saw on Twitter. It's a year ago to the day that Ollie Stone made his Test debut for England. It must be the Ireland Test at Lord's. As Gabriel comes in to the fidgeting Burns, and that's short and wide outside the off stump through to the keeper. There's no run. And I think I saw I don't think it's legacy footage. I saw him taking an absolutely beautiful wicket today. Kent batsman Joe Denley will join up with England men's white ball training group at the Ageas Bowl on the 27th of July, ahead of the Royal London Series against Ireland, which starts on the 30th of July. The rest of the players leaving Emirates Old Trafford are free to return to training with their respective counties.
Well, obviously they've had to keep the likes of Jack Leach, Bracey, someone else perhaps, as concussion replacements, if necessary.
Folks, I suppose.
Folks, as they're all concussion replacements, I guess.
I see. Gabriel comes round the wicket this time, and that'll be 50 for Burns, as he just plays that really nicely and fine down to long leg, who had to move to his left considerably to collect the ball. Burns moves to 50 off 126 balls, 3 fours in that, and England 104 for 3. It seems England's openers at the moment are alternating in terms of scoring runs. Andy Zaltzman.
It's Rory Burns' 9th score of 50 or more in Test cricket, 200s amongst those. His record in first innings recently has been excellent since the start of the Ashes last year in 11 first innings. That's now his 6th 50-plus score, and he's averaging just under 60 in first innings in that time, after averaging just 15 in his first 7 first innings that he batted.
Thank you. Gabriel's in to complete the over. He's got Pope in his sights, 2 slips and a gully in. Right arm over the wicket, full, and that's dug out by Pope, but with good timing, straight to the mid-wicket, where Shamar Brooks does the fielding. Oh, I will just to tell you that, yes, indeed, Ollie Stone has been playing for Warwickshire against Notts in a friendly. Hamid made 65 on his Nottinghamshire debut, and Ollie Stone took an absolutely beautiful wicket, knocking the off stump right out the ground. The players have come in for drinks, if you like, with the sun shining. Beautiful day. This might be the only beautiful day we get over the next few. Let's hope not. More thoughts from Mick Marks, and then it will be Jonathan Agnew.
Yeah, and they're walking in a leisurely manner. It's quite a warm day, a balmy day in Manchester, and the cricket is good. It's true Test match cricket. We've had 41 overs now, and England have got just over the 100 on the board, 104 for 3. So it's not pulsating stuff, slow outfield, but it's quite gripping, and this is a crucial match. I don't know whether it's going to be spoilt by the weather. You keep looking at forecasts. Agnes is a bit of a forecast expert. I'm sure you've been checking on Manchester Airport, Liverpool Airport, and all other airports. And it's not a total write-off, is it?
Not at all.
And remember, in a Test match nowadays, you've got so much opportunity to make up time.
Yep.
That you can get a result.
Oh, no, a couple of days ago, Saturday looked like it was going to be a complete write-off, but
it's improving a bit.
Yeah, it seems to be. I mean, showers around, but not a washout by any means. So the players are having a drink. I mean, told off, I turned up a bit late. I'm sorry. Read my rota properly. Yes. So there we go. Anyway, look, it's lovely to see my old friend out. I haven't seen you for so long.
Well, I know. I've worked out when we last saw you. In South Africa, I suppose.
Yes.
Must have been. Which is.
First time we've had you on the summit.
It was in the old normal.
It was.
South Africa.
It was. I've missed your bloviation, and it's good to have you back.
Well, it's intriguing to see it live. As I say, I haven't been at the first 2 matches, even in the written press bubble. No. But I'm glad to be here.
You survived lockdown okay down there in the.
I think we survived it more or less. Yeah. Well, for a while, I really thought lockdown was doing me good, because they kept getting these missives from the government, no less, saying you're only allowed 1 exercise period per day.
Yes.
So I thought, well, I'm jolly well going to use it up. Whereas, of course, in normal, I don't exercise much at all. So that
you felt compelled to go out?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I've only got this entitlement. And,
yes.
Sometimes I crept over the hour that was recommended by, I don't know, Mr. Gove or whoever.
And did you and your wife exercise together, or did you actually split it up so you actually had a bit of a break?
That's a fair question, because I don't know whether you have this problem, but my wife walks at about half a mile faster than I do in her natural pace.
Yep.
So we did have a few walks where I said, just go on. And then I could, relax a bit. But we did do quite a bit of walking around Exeter.
Good.
And then when it relaxed, of course, if you live down there and you've got places around where you live, you can potter up to Dartmoor and suddenly the world seems all right again.
Yes.
So we have survived.
Lots of fresh air. Good. We're looking very well on it anyway. A lengthy drink being taken here.
Yes. Well, I see, dear Raheem Cornwall. I think he's going to continue. He's bowled okay.
He has. Yeah.
He hasn't got anything to show for it yet. But he's bowled perfectly respectably. I'm quite surprised that they haven't, given that Chase has had his successes over Burns, that they haven't just tried Burns as Chase as an alternative. Because he's not the worst bowler, Burns. Chase.
No, he's not. But he keeps getting Englishmen out.
Yeah, exactly. So it might be worth a punt, and just to give Cornwall a bit of a break.
Yeah.
But it's just enough out there for the bowlers. Stokes got a good one. There has been a little bit of swing earlier on. Just a flicker of turn, but it's a good cricket pitch.
It is. And Cornwall's going to continue. He's tossing the ball around his hand. It's like a marble compared to most people with a ball in their hand. It really is.
I mean, he's so tall, it's hard for him to flight the ball because he comes from such a height initially. But he knows where it's going to land.
Here he comes. First ball after drinks from round the wicket, and he bowls short. A long hop was cracked for 4. That was not a good delivery, and Burns absolutely dealt with that as ruthlessly as a man on 54 would do. 108 for 3. Pope on 7 at the other end. Cornwall looks a bit rueful at that one.
Well, it was a gift. He put it away. I mean, he did get out to chase cutting a ball not dissimilar to that when he spooned it to cover, but you can't bowl for that. It's a bad ball and he's hit it for 4.
Fielder returns. That is Chase, in fact. Up to point. And Cornwall comes in and tries again from round the wicket, and that's clipped away into the leg side out to mid-wicket. Now there's no run. The sky still has plenty of blue about it. There's some cloud, but not of the threatening variety. Cornwall, there's 3 or 4 strides, and then as the arm comes over, and that's played by Burns out to the man under the helmet at short leg, who is Brooks, who claps his hands together. You can hear that. And now his hands on knees as Cornwall moves in bowls. That's a slightly slower one. Burns has to wait for that on the front foot. 52 miles an hour. Cornwall turns, wanders back to the start of his approach again. Can't really call it a run-up. It doesn't involve any running at all. But it's an approach, and he comes now. Bowls, a quicker one, leg stump. Flicked by Burns to mid-wicket. Fielded by Shea Hope. Ball returns to Cornwall, who starts off right beside the umpire, really, and wanders in and bowls on the leg stump, and Burns plays that away to mid-wicket, so just that poor ball. Otherwise, everything else is bang on target in that over. And England are 108 for 3. 42 overs have been bowled.
There was a bowler even before our time, Agus, but we've heard tell of, called Bomber Wells.
Oh, yes.
Who bowled off spin without any real run up at all. He played for Notts and Gloucester, and I think he was a great character, sort of humorist. I remember old Sam Cooke telling us about Bomber playing with Bomber at Gloucester when they were together. But I think he had probably even a shorter run-up than Cornwall. And I don't think he was a great athlete too, but he was very successful off-spinner with practically no run-up at all, and he's just come into my head. But perhaps Bumble's our best bet. I wonder whether Bumble might have played against Bomber Wells.
I would think so. Yeah. Gabriel is ready to go, being launched off from our end with 2 slips and a gully, still a short leg. And in goes Gabriel, and he bowls to Pope. And nicely forward, wanting a single. Burns a bit slow setting off, but he'll get there okay. Nicely spotted by Pope, who's so busy.
It's a big stride too, that for against Gabriel, and you don't often see modern batsmen do that. But the best ones often do. You know, you'd see Ponting or Tendulkar take a huge stride against quick bowlers. He rocked onto the front foot there and pushed it very confidently. He's only got 8. I know Andy's desperate that he only gets 12.
Far from it, Victor.
I know, but you would like... OK, there would be a compensation for you, a consolation, if Pope got 12, would there not?
Yes, it'd be the second highest score scored 4 times by one batsman in a series after the 14 scored 4 times by Mark Ramprakash for England. I had a long night last night.
Well, actually, I saw you in action last night, and waiting for your dinner, and you had your laptop up, And you know, Victor, when in the old days of ink pens, and I mean
Yes.
proper ink pens,
Yeah.
used to have the sort of capsule in which would be lots of blue ink or black ink or whatever it was, and a fountain pen. But you could then flick that ink, couldn't you? You could flick it. It was quite fun. Ink pellets and that sort of stuff. A lost art, sadly. Here's Gabriel bowling outside the off-stump bottom edge as Burns tries to drive, is collected by Dowrich. Well, all I'll say is that the screen of Andy's laptop looked as if somebody had been flicking ink at it for about 10 minutes. It was just full of numbers, little black on white. And I said to him, how do you... What is it? What is that? You've never seen so many tiny numbers.
Yes.
And it was this new scheme he's trying to work out, which I think churns out statistics like that.
Is that right?
It was. I was looking at some of the CricViz data, and in fact,
extraordinary.
you could add way more columns than that if you want.
I don't know how you could
But
read
how
it.
can you read them?
Incredible. 2 slips go down. There's a leg slip 2, just far down the leg side. Dowrich collects it. I don't know how you could read it, or even what it meant. But
Has anyone got 5 scores the same in a series? You think they might do? There might be some people who've got 5 ducks, you know, like Courtney Walsh or something.
yes, Danny the Duck must have. Morrison.
But you don't have to tell me. I mean, but you know, you might enjoy it by the sound of things.
There have been
I will definitely enjoy it.
There have been people who've scored 6 or 7 ducks on the trot, haven't there? I'm sure Danny the Duck was one of those.
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Gabriel's heaving himself in again, gets there, bowls, a good one. And Dowrich has dropped that again. I have to say, I'm afraid he's not had a good series behind the stumps. I can't remember him dropping a catch as such. But just a ball like that he dropped.
Yeah, he looked very sort of edgy, didn't he, in the last test especially. He got runs in the first match, but he didn't look like he was going to score a run either in this game, in the last game. A bit sort of stuck on the crease and timid in LBW. And the ball has swung after it's left the...
Holder's telling him to
Stumps.
move up a bit, I think.
Yeah, keepers don't like being told where to stand.
No. 109 for 3. Burns on 54. Waits. Gabriel lumbers in, bowls outside the off stump, brings him forward. That's picked up in the covers by Blackwood. Very quick, very nimble fielder. And there's no run. Part of the gazebo wall down there seems to have collapsed. I think there's that black gazebo we talked about last time. But the front wall is now. This has been lowered deliberately.
What's inside that gazebo?
Well, I don't know. We were musing about that, as you can imagine. It might be the spider cam operation, is it? Oh, okay. There goes Gabriel. Bowles has turned away defensively by Burns into the onside.
Well, you've never
There's
liked
no-
the spider cam, have you?
Well-
you could come out in cover of darkness.
I find
you
it-
know where to cut
to
a
go-
few leads.
Who to go nobble? Yeah, it's not been too distracting here.
He's over there, isn't
Yeah.
it? No, it can't get to the centre of the ground. It just seems to go along that
Certainly
boundary.
isn't dangling over the players as it can do. Meanwhile, I hope Graham's okay because he's in the crash still doing his PA announcing up in the Red Rose suite. But I don't know why. I said the other day, I don't know why there's a children's crash in there with him, but that's where he is, with a sort of a toy kitchen apparently is set up. So he's doing his announcements from there, which is It's Cornwall. Bowls, ball that's turned slowly, but it's a bit short, and Pope can play that from the crease and it's digging around, waiting for short leg to pick it up. The point deserted. There'll normally be literally thousands of people on that balcony. Cornwall. Bowls on the leg stump. That's nicely put away. Past mid-on, he's sort of chasing after that. I'm not sure he's actually going to get anywhere near it, Gabriel. He rather escorted it into the boundary. Nasty one for the big fast bowler to go and collect. Half volley, put away.
Lovely shot, actually.
Yeah.
It wasn't big stride, and then he just knew just to turn the wrist at the end to beat mid-on. right hand.
Yeah, beautiful close.
And Gabriel, as you say, escorted.
Poor old Gabriel.
It's the last thing he needs. Mid-on is quite a prime position for an off-spin bowler. Against
I think they're moving him.
And they are, quite right. Roach has got that job now. Probably needs a rest himself.
Yeah, well, Gabriel mid-spell doesn't really need to be fielding at mid-on, I don't think. So he's gone across now to mid-off, and Cornwall continues and bowls, and Pope is drawn forward. That's pushed away out to cover for defensive stroke. Cornwall again. Strides in over the wicket and bowls, and Pope's down the pitch. He's found Gabriel again. This time, though, it goes more or less straight to him. And, a long barrier is produced, and they take one more run, 114 for 3. Burns 54, then Pope has 13.
Yeah, and Andy is very sanguine about that.
Yes, the record number of ducks in a series is 6 by Alan Hurst of Australia.
Alan Hurst
against England in the 1978-79 Ashes that took place during the Packer years.
Cornwall bowls. Burns leans forward, pushed out to Holder.
Alan Hurst batted 20 times in Tests in all, got 10 ducks, which is a frankly heroic effort. A few players have had 5 ducks in the series, including Pankaj Roy, who had 5 as opener for India here in 52, including a pair on this ground.
Cornwall bowls the last ball. It's short, and Burns can crack it away this time. Bit of a change on that end needed, I think. It's just being picked off a couple of times and over at the moment, and the control is just being lost a bit here by Jason Holder. I think we'll see a change down there. 116 for 3. Burns 56. Pope 13. Victor, there's an email there for you to ponder over.
I will.
Regarding your old friend Bomber Wells, and Simon's coming in here.
Well, I'm too young for him to be an old friend of mine, but it's from Ben Jeffries, who says, when I was at King's School, Gloucester in the 1990s, Bomber Wells was my spin coach. He once umpired me in a school match against the MCC, and I bowled my leg spin on the flattest track of the summer. Not a single ball turned. I said to Bomber that it was impossible to turn a ball on such a pitch. In his 60s, he took the ball and bowled, with no run-up, a ball that pitched outside off and hit leg. Ah, I said, but that's finger spin. I bowl wrist spin. So he took the ball a second time. This one pitched outside leg and hit off. He was an incredible character. So, from Wracking Cornwall to Bomber Wells.
Yeah. Good afternoon. Here is Shannon Gabriel. Lazarus goes in and bowls to Pope, who clips that through mid-wicket for runs. Probably 3. They've run 2 now. Fielder in the deep. Blackwood gets round. No, they settle on 2. Throw comes in and Gabriel just ignores it, allows it to be backed up at cover. 118 for 3. Pope to 15. Burns to 56. Surrey against West Indies at the moment.
And Pope is looking very busy. He's got his 15 from just 19 balls. He's looked quite good throughout the series without getting in.
Did a couple of lovely shots at Southampton early on, then was dismissed.
Yeah.
Delightful strokes. 2 slips in the gully, 3 saving one on the offside. There's a man back on the deep square leg boundary. Here's Gabriel bowling. Oh, and that's the beauty that goes past the inside edge. And Dowrich dives away to his left. He drops the ball, but I think it just nipped. I mean, it gave the impression that it came off the inside edge. If it is an edge, then that's a mistake from Dowrich, but I wonder whether that just nipped so much. It nipped back from Gabriel.
Well, I'm putting that... Here we go. We're having a look now.
Did go a long way as well after it'd gone past the bat. Might need to get Snicko on that, or a different angle. I don't know, Victor. I think
he did look behind quite quickly. It did move, but the ball has been swinging after it passed the stumps. But I think Gabriel expressed disappointment.
Yeah, he did, definitely. Oh, well, there might have been an edge there. We'll have a look at that in a minute.
I think there will be, but we haven't had confirmation yet.
118 for 3. Gabriel goes in, bowls to Pope outside the off stump. Pope lets it go. This time it's taken by Dowrich.
Well, maybe that's the escape that Pope needs. Again, that doesn't help us that much, but I see that batsman look back anxiously.
Yeah, so that's often a
and I'm looking at
giveaway.
Dowrich has not got a big smile on his face. I mean, when they set off with a reduced batting lineup, England, they would have considered Pope or Crawley. But Pope would have been in the shake-up, I would have thought. It is in the discussion.
This is Gabriel past the umpire into bowl to Pope. And Pope turns it away neatly past the square leg umpire. Blackwood's in action again. This time it's straight at him, so it's only a single. 119 for 3. And Pope to 16. You mean when they were dropping Crawley, they'd have thought, should we drop Pope
If we're dropping a batsman, they would have, I would have thought, had at least a discussion. Right, we're going to play the extra bowler. Who's it going to be? And then very quickly they would have established it's either Crawley, who obviously was left out, who has scored 76 in this series, or Pope. And they obviously made their decision. But I would have thought they would have had a bit of a debate first.
Field changes over for the left-handed Burns. You can see Roston Chase loosening up in front of the point. I think it might be chase time. He waited a long time to bowl. I think he took 5 wickets in the first innings in the second test on this ground a few days ago. Gabriel bowls to Burns, short ball. Burns ducks underneath it. Doesn't really get up, that one. Goes over his back. Taken low down by Dowrich.
Good duck, that, really, isn't it? It was, really didn't bounce very much, but he seemed to sway and duck nicely. If you're an opening batsman, you get satisfaction out of a good duck. Mark Butcher used to be very good at ducking, leaving, or not necessarily ducking, but swaying, or seemed to get out of the way easily. It's quite a handy attribute to have.
Burns knows there's a man that deep back with square leg as well. Roston Chase wearing his sun hat with his hands on his hips. Fine leg in as well, so it's a risky one if he takes it on. Gabriel bowls to Burns outside the off stump, goes scuttling through low. Taken on the second bounce by Dowrich. 119 for 3 at the end of Gabriel's over. He's bowled 10.2 overs, no wicket for 18. 10.2 because he went off early on today with what looked like a hamstring problem and then reappeared. We thought that was it. Normally you see a bowler do that early on. He ran in once and just felt the leg and then tried to run in again and just gave up. And of course we saw Ben Stokes do that in the last test match, and we know what's happened to him in terms of his bowling for this game.
Yeah.
No, it's quite have you cleared up in your role as Guardian cricket correspondent what the precise nature of the injury is? Have you nailed it down?
Yeah.
It's what?
Fetlock.
Fetlock.
No, I think I heard quad mentioned.
Quad, right, okay. Right, Roston Chase is going to bowl.
We don't know. I mean, perhaps it's possible, I suppose, with England batting first, and he could bowl in the second innings if necessary. I'm sure he'll grab the ball if the game's in the balance.
The strange thing, I mean, quad muscles are
up top there, isn't it?
Yeah, so you think that would affect his running, wouldn't you? So you think, well, is he fit to play? You know, you have different injuries. Sometimes you have an injury in the upper part of your body. Here's Chase bowling and Pope defending into the onside and there's no run. You can play uninhibited as a batsman, but if you have a leg injury, you'd think that would affect you as a batsman and fielder as well.
Yeah.
So it's an odd one.
Hang on, this is Ben Stokes, though. He'll be all right.
So Chase to Pope, and Pope's down the pitch looking to flick that away, strikes him on the pad. Runs away into the offside. Dowrich comes behind the stumps to pick up, and there's no run.
I mean, he didn't scamper any quick singles, it's fair to say, but he didn't really look under any sort of pain when he was batting, did he?
Slip and a short leg go down. Chase goes in, bowls to Pope. Pope covers up, plays it to mid-wicket, and there's no run. They're all a game of cat and mouse going on at the moment. It's been a bit like that this series.
Yep.
Two teams arm wrestling with each other.
Yeah.
Chase swings his arms and moves in and bowls to Pope. Pope stands up in defence on the back foot, plays it back down the pitch. Chase bends down to pick up, and there is no run. Sibley out for naught, Root 17, Stokes 20. Nice piece of bowling from Roach. A couple of short ones, one that hit him on the head and then one nipped back. Pope down the pitch, clipping this into the onside towards wide mid-on. He is through for a single. Jason Holder is wearing a sun hat now. Sends in the return, and Pope on 17. Pope trying not to let Chase bowl at him.
No, well, I think that's his natural way, and he is nimble on his feet. He uses his feet to the spinners, and it's a less dangerous thing to do against an off-spinner for a right-handed batsman. He's come down the wicket to Cornwall, but not to play the massive shot, to just try and clip it along the ground, wider mid-on.
Now Burns, Chase got him out in the first innings of the second test. That is not a great delivery from Chase. It's short, it's chopped away by Burns. He rather missed out there. Went to Blackwood at backward point, who did fumble it, but the ball went only a couple of metres behind him, so he was able to get back and pick it up before Burns went through for a single. It's the end of the over, 120 for 3. We've had 46 overs in this day's play and no interruptions, and if you look up at the moment, we're not like to have an interruption either. It's the best weather since we've been in Manchester. We had a couple of nice days in Southampton, but West Indies, well, I think they probably would have preferred cloud cover, but it must be feeling quite nice out there. A bit of warmth, because it has, I mean, the weather has been not that warm in Manchester the week or so. It's been under 20 degrees for the most part.
Yeah, we had
grey skies.
Epic bit of summer when there was no cricket.
Yeah.
In May, really, it was glorious.
Well, and April as well.
Yeah.
It was, remarkable weather. I think it's been quite nice in the south of late, but up here not so much. Another test match to come after this one as well. Pakistan in the country and preparing to play their first test match. Gabriel moves in, bowls to Pope, who's right forward, and stylish looking defensive shot, head over it, bat and pad close together. Goes up to Kemar Roach at mid-off, and there's no run. Lots of Pakistan players in the country. Have been playing practice matches among themselves, and the Pakistan first test starts just under a week after this one finishes. 120 for 3. Pope 17. Gabriel looking for his first wicket of the test match. Down beneath us in the sunshine. Moves in again, past the umpire to bowl to Pope short. Flies through to Dowrich. It's over the left shoulder. There is the man back. He seems a long way back. Big ground at Old Trafford, a long way back. Blackwood at deep square legs. So you really have to get hold of it to hit it over him. I mean, at Taunton, he'd be in the car park or in the shop, so far back. And the pitch is a bit over because we had the first test right in the centre of the square. 120 for 3. Shannon Gabriel tries again, past the umpire now, up the stumps and bowls to Pope, and Pope plays a low pull at that, helping on its way down towards fine leg. He rehearses the stroke as he makes it to the non-striker's end. It is only a single. 121 for 3. Pope to 18. Burns is on 56, and Carlos is here. Carlos Brathwaite.
How was your lunch, Simon?
Good. Food here has been excellent. Nearly time for tea, actually. They bring the cakes out as well. Are you staying off those?
Yeah, I've been bad today, man. Sweets are my guilty pleasure in a way, and I've had one too many. There's probably the bag is singing my name as soon as I walk through the door. Hands have been in it so much.
You're going to be playing cricket soon, though. You have to get back in training, or have you been able to do anything?
Yeah, still some push-ups and sit-ups in the room. Not quite the running and bowling or facing the bowling machine or a bowler, but they have to do for the moment.
Yeah. Gabriel goes into bowl to Burns, and Burns clips that away nicely to Chase at deep back with square leg, and it moves through for a single. 122 for 3. So when was the last time you faced a bowler?
I had some practice outdoors just after lockdown. Had been lifted, so I probably got in 4 or 5 sessions, probably. Once the professional cricketers are able to train again, they had some sessions with Aj Dale, quick from Hampshire. So watch out for him. Good pace, hit 83, 84, and
indoors or outdoors?
Outdoors.
Outdoors,
yeah.
Shannon Gabriel moves in. Muscular action, bowls, way down the leg side. Hard work for Dowrich, who scoops it up on the dive. No chance really for Pope to get after that one.
Yeah, I've been fortunate enough to be allowed the facilities at Caldecott Prep in Slough, and under the watchful eye of Naeem Amin, got some sessions in. So, I mean, I don't feel as though I'm too far away. Those sessions put me back in a decent nick, but you still always want to be doing a bit more, especially in the lead up to a tournament. So I wanted to get into the indoors, but the ECB were very wary of sharing the same space as the players, so I had to respect that.
Yeah. CPL starts, what, in August?
Yeah, mid-August.
Gabriel bowls full, dug out by Pope back to the bowler. Gabriel picks up off his own bowling, and that's the end of the over. 86 miles an hour from Shannon Gabriel, who's bowled 11.2 overs, no wicket for 20. England put into bat this morning 122 for 3. I see the IPL dates were confirmed today as well. Breaking news this morning, something like the 19th of September, I think, right through to the early part of November in the UAE.
Yeah, that seems very long.
Something like that, anyway.
Yeah. Normally IPL gets obviously home and away in, but with it being in one country, interesting to see why it would have been so long.
The pitches are going to be interesting by the end of that tournament as well, aren't they? If you're playing in the same grounds the whole time.
Will it be one ground or will it be Abu Dhabi,
well,
Dubai and Sharjah?
I imagine they'll be playing in, make use of 3, but you think the IPL normally you're making use of many more than that. Here's Burns driving a chase into the offside towards extra cover. Diving save by Shea Hope away to his right. And there's no run. I mean, those pitches normally spin anyway, or at least they help the slower bowlers, but they might be a bit tired come the end of the tournament.
The pitches
like
in India are great for batting. The UAE.
Chase bowls, Burns waits, and then plays with an open face, soft hands to backward point, and there's no run.
Yeah, the UAE quite similar, but Sharjah, you never know you could get in Sharjah. You could either get a rank turner, or you could get a batting paradise with those small boundaries.
Chase bowls, Burns comes down the pitch, Chase fires it in his feet, Burns digs it out into the onside to mid-wicket. And there's no run. Every now and again, Burns is prepared to come down, use his feet against the slow bowler. Chase into Burns. Short cut to slip. Rakeem Cornwall, no trouble at all to his right. Takes the catch and Burns is out. And Chase has got him again. Aggressive stroke from Rory Burns. And a smart catch from Rakeem Cornwall, who made it look so easy to his right-hand side. 122 for 4.
Big Rakeem Cornwall. I told you he was good at slip. Not sure how much he knew about that one. Oh. I am not sure how much he knew about that one, but he has tremendous hands, and that's just trusting your hands. He didn't know much about that at all.
Wow. Caught it one hand, right-handed. It was one of those, he reacted, he lifted the hand a bit, and then bang, in it went.
It's the 4th time Chase has dismissed Rory Burns in just 40 balls in Test cricket.
Well, there we go. And West Indies continue to chip away, and Burns gone for 57. Back to the cut shot in Southampton as well, caught at backward point.
Simon, the beauty of that catch, right? A lot of people will see it at home, and as we say, you jump and you think, oh, that's stuck. But when you look at persons who trust their hands, as we were saying, cricket parlance, he knows that he just needs to get his hand in the right direction. He trusts his body to react. If you look at Chris Jordan, the amount of time he takes those little one-handers versus someone who reacts with stiff hands, unsure of where the ball would be, and it hits the heel of the hand and bounces out. So, yeah, I know you didn't know much about that one. I can't give him full credit, but I can give him full credit for trusting his hands and believing in his body and taking the catch.
Yeah, we've seen it 3 or 4 times now on slow motion. They should play it on our screens in normal speed. And you really get the sense of it then. But, well, quick reactions. He got his hand in the right place, and it stuck. And so Jos Buttler is there. You really must watch that catch. BBC Sport website, available soon. Goes the text commentary and the video clips are there. And today at the test, the highlights of this first day of the 3rd test. BBC 2 tonight, 7 o'clock. If you can't make BBC 2 at 7 o'clock, it's also available on the iPlayer. 122 for 4. West Indies fighting hard on this first day. With 2 wickets for Roach, a run out. And then Rory Burns perishing to Roston Chase on the cut again. Now, Jos Buttler is in at 6 for England. And he needs some runs. Chase goes in, tosses it up. Buttler drives, and it goes behind the wicketkeeper. I don't quite know how he got it there. Looking to drive to the offside, squeezed it hard into the ground. And then it went behind him and past Dowrich. Actually, having seen that again, I'm not sure Buttler hit that at all. It might have been just went through the wicketkeeper, got something on it. Can't have been that far away from off stump. Here is Chase bowling. Buttler turns it quietly into the onside towards mid-wicket, and there is no run. Game on with that wicket. 122 for 4. By the way, plan is for Dubai, Abu Dhabi and Sharjah to be the 3 main venues for the IPL. Yeah, that's what I imagine. And we've got IPL commentary on 5 Live Sports Extra. Details to come. Right, time for Dan Norcross. After a few more thoughts from Carlos Brathwaite.
What a catch. Big Raheem Cornwall. I guess the English public would see what he can do with the ball, but look at that for fielding that slip. He's not just there because of his size and lack of mobility. He's there because he's an excellent slip fielder. Fantastic hands. And that's a good example of such. I know he'd be chirping away. The boys are so happy for him. You can see all of them jumping into him, and yeah, it's real good, man, to get that catch away. Obviously not gotten a wicket as yet, and I'm sure he will get at some point in time, but good to get that one away in the field as well and show persons how good he is in his slip.
Gabriel starts a new over. The West Indies definitely on top. 122 for 4 England, and Pope just pushes into the offside beautifully with the backward point, and there is no run. All 4 wickets that the West Indies have taken today have been really good bits of cricket, actually. The first wicket to fall, Sibley's. That was a lovely bit of bowling in the first over from Roach. Roach again got one to jag back through the gate of Stokes. Not the easiest thing to do. Stokes has been covering the line very well, and it moved appreciably to castle him. There's a terrific run out from Chase, and then that grab from Cornwall was superb. One-handed, went really quickly. It wasn't a great ball, wasn't a great shot, but it was a fantastic catch from Cornwall. Went really fast. Check that out in the highlights tonight as Gabriel runs away from us with 2 slips and a gully. And Pope lets that go by, goes through the hands of Dowrich, who's not having the best of times, actually. How many byes is that to get through for another run? 123 for 4. But we were saying that last time you were on, we were talking about ways of getting Rory Burns out, and that the cut is his strength. But he was underneath that. The ball didn't turn particularly. He must have bounced a little bit more than he expected. He got the top edge and it flew.
But you can see from Cornwall's initial spell as well, he was trying to get down and almost double bluff by getting down the track to force the bowlers to bowl shorter so he can have the chance to cut. Just didn't execute it. He obviously gets a lot of runs with it, but as you mentioned, it can also bring his downfall, and it did.
Yeah, I've seen him caught on the boundary cutting when he was on about 97 or something against Yorkshire, I think, at Scarborough. Maybe Andy can check that out for me.
9 byes so far, about 2 fours of that single.
It's quite a lot, really, isn't it?
Just on Raheem Cornwall as a catcher, it's his 64th catch in 63 first-class games. Anything around 1 a game is pretty good, and his 6th in just his 3rd test.
Gabriel in a bouncer to Buttler, who evades it, but not comfortably. The West Indies are really up for this now. They know that with England having made those earlier changes, leaving out Sam Curran and Zach Crawley, bringing in Anderson and Archer. 1 more wicket brings Woakes to the crease. He's got a Test 100, but he's got a very poor record since that 100. And then it is Dom Bess and the 3 pacemen. So a couple more wickets here. The door will be prized ajar. It's a crucial moment in the match and in the series. There's a deep backward square leg for that bouncer and a long leg. Mid-wicket, mid-on, extra cover, 2 slips of gully, a cover point, short. And again, Buttler evades. There's always a huge amount of scrutiny on Buttler, because if there's one thing that English cricket does have at the moment, it's a glut of keepers. And one of their more successful keeper batsmen has been Ben Foakes, who has not featured after a really good start to his career. Johnny Bairstow, of course, has had the gloves for a long time, scored a lot of runs, had a wonderful year, scored more runs than any other wicketkeeper in a calendar year, not that long ago, but he's out of the side. So Buttler, there's a bit of pressure on him, and there was a potentially revealing comment about how he was certainly safe for this series, but that didn't refer to the Pakistan series, as Gabriel's in, short again, and that really cramps Buttler, who just manages to squirt it out into the offside. Chase drops in to pick up about 2 pitch widths away from the main pitch. 123 for 4 England. 1 ball remains in the 49th over. Ollie Pope has once again looked very comfortable, but he hasn't gone on so far in this series, and England need a partnership. They need one, well, now or in the next partnership, or else West Indies will be eyeing up bowling England out for around 200, 220, which would give them a terrific chance to win this match and win their first series in England since 1988, as Gabriel runs away from us into Buttler, who defends, hopping about a little bit into the onside. Goes to mid-wicket, where Brooks does the fielding end of the over. Just that 1 bye from it. Buttler yet to score. Pope has 18, England 123 for 4. Carlos, we're only, what, 26 or 16 minutes or so from tea, and yet the match feels like it's in a really crucial stage, and the series.
Yeah, well, you knew as soon as England picked the 11, they either had to bowl first or they needed a big partnership with someone with Dom Sibley, just because of the way he will play, how he'll take time out of the game, wear the bowlers down, and essentially have a Root and a Stokes, a Buttler, a Pope come in a lot later than they have been forced to do now. But the game is right open. Jason has brought himself back in, but I love this attack from Shannon Gabriel. Buttler would obviously been thinking, get forward, have been bold, LBW, get forward, and they've pushed him back so far, and then that ball that actually jigs back and hits top of off, top of middle becomes so much more crucial, because it's around 86, 87, so it'd be interesting to see how Gabriel continues.
Here is Holder running in from the Anderson end. Forward comes Pope and pushes to extra cover, and there's no run. The ball's been coming off the middle of Ollie Pope's bat throughout the series. He just hasn't gone on yet. Sometimes in the circumstances haven't helped him, but this is an opportunity, but it's also a bit of a necessity. There's a bit of pressure on him, and there's a lot of pressure on Buttler.
To be honest, he reminds me a bit of Shea Hope. Both of them seem to be middling every single thing, just don't have a big score behind the name as yet.
Here is Holder bowling, and Pope defends again, very comfortably, very securely into the offside, this time off the back foot, a slightly shorter delivery. 123 for 4 England. If you're just joining us, West Indies winning the toss, putting England in, getting the wicket of Sibley for his second duck of the series in the first over. Joe Root run out to a terrific direct hit from Roston Chase. And then we had a couple of wickets since lunch. Stokes bowled through the gate. Burns caught brilliantly at slip. As Holder is in, driven nicely by Pope. Not a great deal of timing, but he'll pick up 2 for it as it runs out into the offside. And it's picked up by Blackwood running from cover point. Throw comes in. 125 for 4. Pope to 20 now. You're filled with mirth, Carlos. What have you seen?
So the ball coming from around cover, deepish cover, and it gone to the bowler's end. Roston Chase is at mid-wicket, Shannon Gabriel is at mid-on. Roston's run to the keeper's end to back up the throw, and Shannon had no interest in covering the bowler's end and just shouting at Roston, come back this direction.
Holder in down the leg side, flicked at and missed by Pope through to the keeper. There's no run.
It's only after you realise that Roston was actually covering the keeper's end, he kind of held his hand up. That ended well. If that had gone past Jason, it could have been ugly.
Well, you know, I mean, he's an opening bowler. He's bowled a lot of overs in this series. He'd bowled 69.5 before this game. He's bowled a few overs today. He's been clutching his hamstring. I don't suppose he really wants to do much in the way of backing up. Holder in to Pope, who just defends firmly on the front foot. His forward defensives make it all the way to mid-off. And not for him just pushing it down into his toes. He pushes it with firm intent up to mid-off. And there's no run. 2 slips are in. And the gully, backward point. Extra mid-off, mid-on, mid-wicket. And, I presume, a long leg, not a fine leg. Quite wide. 125 for 4, England. 1 ball left in the 50th over of their innings. Pope waits for Holder. Lets this go outside the off stump. Through to the keeper. Dowrich takes it easily. 125 for 4. Pope 20. Butler yet to score. 50 overs with bowled. England gain exactly 2.5 and over. Andy, you have a microphone in your hand.
I do. Roston Chase taken off after just 2 overs, 1 for 1. The reason could be the head-to-head between Butler and Jason Holder. Holder has dismissed Butler 4 times in 107 balls bowled at him in Test cricket. Butler scored 56 runs, so he's averaging just 14 against Jason Holder, but he's played Chase pretty well. 89 for 1 off the 21 overs and 1 ball he's faced of Roston Chase in Test, so it's possible that Holder fancies himself for a wicket here.
Well, these head-to-heads are interesting, aren't they? Because Burns, I think, averages 3.75 against Roston Chase. So
open the bowling with it.
Yeah. Well,
it's 15 for 4 off 40 balls, which is not ideal.
15 for 4. Wow. Gabriel starts a new over. Butler works this away nicely for his first run down to long leg along the ground. It was on his pads. Just neatly, easily and fluently tucks it away for a single. 126 for 4.
And just as I mentioned earlier on, Burns actually played Nathan Lyon pretty well last year in the Ashes. Lyon, one of the top off-spinners in world cricket. He scored at more than 50 runs per 100 balls, 110 for 2 dismissals off 200 balls. So I don't know how you explain this different record against Chase, who's been essentially a part-time off-spinner for much of his career.
Is it height? I mean, the thing with Roston Chase is I don't think he gets quite the respect necessarily that he might deserve, because against England he's got a terrific record. He's picking up wickets all the time. But I mean, the wicket he got there with Burns wasn't a great ball. It didn't turn. It was quite short as Gabriel is in to Pope, who drives fluently into the offside but slightly away from his body. It goes into the ground and is fielded at point by Chase. There's no run. 126 for 4. It's the curious case of Roston Chase.
We may need to start considering him the GOAT, greatest off-spinner of all time. He's better than Nathan Lyon, at least against Rory Burns.
Much
but
better,
I don't think he does get the respect he deserves. It's subtle again. That ball it looked like a rank long hop, but just saying the hot spot. All the other balls were a bit shorter and a bit slower. That one was a little quicker and a little fuller than Rory Burns thought. So it wasn't the best ball, but he did just enough.
Deception, isn't it? I mean, that's what you've got to do if you're an off-spinner, as Gabriel is in to Pope. Flexes his knees and wafts at this, and it goes bursting through the hands of Dowrich. For some reason, they haven't gone through for the very comfortable bye that was on offer. There was a poor shot from Pope. Just lost his concentration there. It was wide of his off-stump, and he wafted at it. I don't think he got any bat on it. Got very close to getting bat on it, and it's just burst through Dowrich's hands. He had fingers pointing up. It was around about shoulder height to him. Swung a little bit again after leaving the batsman, and Butler was not alert to the potential bye on offer there. This is a very awkward moment for England, and a very intriguing one for the West Indies, as we've only got 9 minutes to go until tea. England not on the ropes, but they are precariously placed at 126 for 4. Gabriel runs in again, and Pope just defends from the crease, more solidly, more firmly, more compact on this occasion. Pushes up to Roach at mid-off. There's no run. He remains on 20. Butler has 1. 126 for 4. Whew. The sun's just come behind the clouds at the moment. Clouds thickening up, but I don't think too dangerous. Jonathan Agnew has been eyeing up various apps next door, which suggests that we may not have the washout that was feared. Could be one of those more awkward in-out sort of days. Time will tell. But with this game nicely poised on the first day, Gabriel is in again, and that's pushed into the offside for a single. Nicely played by Pope. He saw a little gap there, found a little bit of space to the left of Roach. A kind of straightish extra, wideish mid-off, went towards his left hand, and they got through for a well-taken single. That's something that Pope will do. He will look to score singles and rotate the strike, put the pressure back on the bowlers. Means that Butler has just 1 ball of this over to face. I'm not suggesting for 1 minute that England will be protecting him from Holder, but it may not be the worst thing for them if he remains At the non-striker's end, Holder will be due to bowl the next over from the Anderson end. Gabriel at the top of his mark. Towel flapping out of the back of his trousers. Runs in. Buttler lets this go by. Not too far from his off-stump. Well judged leave, though, on the angle. Through to Dowrich. There's no run. End of the 51st over. England continue to go slowly here. 127 for 4. Pope 21 from 44. Buttler has 1 from 8. It's not been quick progress again, but it's been compelling cricket. And I'm not quite sure, I'm not quite sure what we make of these pitches that we're seeing. They're quite, they're making for intriguing cricket, aren't they? If not for quick scoring.
Yeah, I think the pitches have been good. You put something in, you get something out. Just enough for the batters, just enough for the bowlers. Yeah, and the cricket has been good likewise.
Holder, it starts a new over to Pope, who rushes into the onside. They go through for a quick single. Darren hit to be close, but actually Chase can't gather. After effecting a terrific run out earlier on this occasion, he couldn't pick the ball up as he moved swiftly to his left at mid-wicket. It's quite a risky single, that, from Pope, who may be looking to rotate the strike, but perhaps not in that way.
Yeah, but I mean, the same thing I was thinking about Joe Root, actually. There are these players that are very positive and show a lot of intent in the running. He would have hit that and saw it going to Shannon Gabriel and pick my fielder. Rawson, very good, very well done. All but gathering and actually knocking the bails off.
I suppose that's to Chase's weaker hand, isn't it? It's to Chase's left hand if he's going to collect that and throw it in. But it's a risk nonetheless with 5 minutes to go before tea. England on 128 now for 4. Holder is into Buttler, and Buttler defends nicely back at wicket to Holder.
I'm not sure
of
Butler's place in the team and recent scores, if he'd be happy to be run out in that fashion at all.
No. Well, he's having a bit of a trot of poor luck, really. He's about to say anything else. I mean, the last innings he was sent out to open the batting against a new ball and drags one on, but well wide of the off stump. Holder into him again, and he defends solidly into the ground. Not with quite the great timing. Holder not interested in picking the ball up, even though it went straight to him. He just kicks it gently to Brooks at extra cover. There's no run.
You do find out that gives you a bit of credit in a team. You get a bit of credit in the bank. You're not performing as well as you want. You play under threat, but you are the best equipped person to go open the batting. You go open the batting, you drag on for naught, and people actually gain respect for you for sacrificing an individual performance for the team.
Holder in, left alone by Buttler. Some oohs and ahs, but it was quite wide of the off stump. It's a good leave from Buttler. 128 for 4, the score remains. We'll get these 2 balls and then one more over before tea. Over 8, not spectacular. Not much over 13 overs an hour, so we're going to be going, you would imagine, to 6:30 again. Not sure if we'll even get all the overs in. We'll get pretty close, I would think. Holder in, defended again by Buttler, very solidly. Back to the bowler. Things are playing very straight at the minute, let's put it that way, Buttler. Very, very watchfully. He's been there for 12 balls. Just has the 1 run. Pope at the other end. Fluent. 22 from 45 balls. Cricket is happening not all over the country, but it's just starting to come out of hibernation very late, the end of July finally, as Holder pulls a wide delivery outside the off stump, left alone by Buttler. No run at the end of the 52nd over. 128 for 4, Buttler 1, Pope 22, just the 1 boundary in that. How many boundaries have we had today, Andy? It doesn't feel like many. I can keep talking until you've got the stat for me if you like. I can talk around it. And
6.
There we go.
I was looking for a game that Carlos asked about with multiple injured wicket keepers. I don't know, do we know if Dowrich has a hand problem or not from the way he's been keeping in this game? But Carlos mentioned a game between Trinidad and Tobago and Barbados back in 2012.
Yes,
where
2012.
Both Shane Dowrich for Barbados and the I think Ramdin for Trinidad and Tobago ended up injured, and Bravo has a wicketkeeper's catch, and Carter. So 2 players who didn't start as wicketkeeper taking catches. And there's been an increasing trend for teams to have lots of wicket-keepers in their team. Sri Lanka at one point had 4 test keepers in their batting lineup. We've seen similar from New Zealand, Latham and BJ Watling.
I think Surrey managed to... Oh, no, we're going to change the bowler. Roach is in to the right-handed. Pope works it into the onside for an easy single. Ball jagging back into his hip, and he just works it to mid-wicket. Picked up by Campbell. I think there was a game... Sorry, as England moved to 129 for 4. Did they not have Burns, Pope, Sangakkara, Folkes in the same match once? I think they had 4 wicket keepers in their lineup. I think they've had Gary Wilson also in the squad.
5 keepers.
It was quite something. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more. I don't know what happened about 15 years ago, but I thought 10 to 15 years ago when batsmen thought, be handy to have another string to my bow, but I don't want to be a bowler, so I'm going to be a wicket-keeper batsman. And then suddenly a great glut of wicket-keeper batsmen arrived.
The Gilchrist effect.
Yeah.
Adam Gilchrist, everyone had to be a batsman.
Roach is into Butler, who just plays this with an angled bat into the ground and sort of glides it on the bounce to second slip where Holder does the fielding. I've just been shown Yorkshire's current score against Lancashire in their 2-day friendly. Adam Lyons made it to 100. He's 108 not out. Kohler Cadmore made 70. The only wicket to go, caught and bowled Hartley for 70. Frayne is unbeaten on 24. And Yorkshire are a rather impressive 207 for 1. They've had... Commentary is online with Kevin Howes there. They've had 29 4s and 4 6s in that match as this ball's pushed back up the wicket by Butler. There's no run. By contrast here, we have had 6 4s. That is all.
So to go back to 2012, they had a spate of 2 games. So Dowrich started as keeper for Barbados, Ramdin for Trinidad. Dowrich got a nasty blow to his eye. He had to sit out the rest of the game. Jonathan Carter kept for Barbados. Ramdin got injured. Lendl Simmons kept for Trinidad.
Roach in once more, and Butler flicks this away nicely out to deep square leg. He'll pick up 1. The throw comes in. They won't get any more than the 1 as it's relayed back in. 130 for 4, Butler to 2.
Lendl Simmons then took the gloves, got a blow on his hand, and had to give the gloves up. Darren Bravo ended up taking the gloves and getting a dismissal. So you had 5 different keepers in that game. Because Dowrich was injured, Jamal Smith then made his debut for Barbados in the following game versus Combined Campuses and College, and a certain Jason Holder.
Roach is into Pope, pushes it to the offside, goes through for another cheeky quick single. That's very well played indeed, pushing to the left of Campbell in the covers. 131 for 4, Pope to 24.
Yeah, a certain Jason Holder was playing for Combined Campuses and Colleges then. So Jamal Smith played all his life for Combined Campuses and Colleges. Obviously he wanted to play for Barbados, got this call to play for Barbados in the absence of Shane Dowrich. Wasn't presented his cap either because Barbados batted first. I think it was a day-night game, Barbados versus Combined Campuses and Colleges, and Jason Holder hit him on the hand. He was using a pair of gloves that eyelined him.
Oh no.
Hand broken, never to play for Barbados again.
Oh, Roach bowls outside the off stump through the keeper, no run. That is a tale of terrible woe as T is taken. That was the last ball before T is well left. 131 for 4 England. 53 overs have been bowled. Pope has 24. Butler has 2. I believe the scores have disappeared from the screen, so I could be making that up.
That is correct. There had been 7 4s. I missed one of Burns' 4s out from my visual count. Pope 24 from 47.
So we've had 7 4s in 318 deliveries, but it has been absorbing, very absorbing cricket today. And the West Indies, you'd say, are currently on top. England precariously placed, but they have 2 batsmen at the crease, Ollie Pope and Jos Buttler, who will look to progress after tea. Wickets to fall since lunch. Those of Ben Stokes bowled through the gate, an absolute beauty from Roach, cut back quite appreciably, and then Rory Burns, who made it to 57 before he cut a shorter but slightly quicker ball from Roston Chase, his nemesis. The 4th time he's got out to him, he cutted it, got a thick edge, and it was brilliantly taken by Rakeem Cornwall. At first slip he just thrust out a hand and it stuck in it and it went at great pace. Stokes made 20, Burns with that 57. Sibley didn't trouble the scorers with his duck. Root had been run out for 17 before lunch. It's been great cricket, as it has been throughout this series.